Right. Happy Wednesday. Just brief overview today on how to install the programming language Rust through the Rust Up. So how we get that is going through, just go to Google, Rust, boop. So that's, we can do that. You can install it if you're running Windows. If you're running a Unix-based system, you can go ahead and use this. So that'd be Linux and or Apple. And specifically for Rust Up, toolchain installer. So I've already installed this, but click on that. Go into the terminal here. I'm going to get no because I've already installed it, but alright, let's say go ahead and do that. And then Rustlings, which I had someone asked me about, learn how to learn Rust. So for Mac OS or Linux, we just run this here. There we go. Okay, so cut and paste that. And that, oh, that's right. Probably need to be super user do, right, that we learned about yesterday. Oh, probably because I've already had Rustlings installed here. Alright, so because I already have it installed, just what is it? Nope. That's right. Slings, clear. Okay, so nice thing about Rustlings is the fact that it has. So you go Rustlings. Alright, so you enter the term Rustlings into the command line, and it goes through and lets us know all about what Rustlings is. And you can have the language service, is it LSP? Is that service provider? Oh, I forget. I always get on my interns about making sure we know what something is. Language Server Protocol, my goodness, how could I forget that? So that can help us in terms of for being able to queue things within Rust of how, whether or not we're using the correct language, correct syntax, and whenever we're getting ready to start, we just put in Rustlings watch, just like this, Rustlings watch. We'll know it's correct because it's going to start compiling, which is what it's turning the relatively high level code of Rust, and that's high versus low being how it relates to where it is in converting into the machine code that will then, right, so like the binaries, everything that actually runs for the entire system. Rust is known as a systems language more so than anything else, and it's also a full stack language. So back end, front end, whole thing, but one of the difficulties and also one of the benefits is the fact that it's memory safe and places this concept of ownership being very paramount. So typically whenever you are initially getting things together, it can take a little bit of time in terms of compiling. Rust uses what are called crates and the package manager, right? So think of Python has pip. For Rust, we have cargo, and so the packages are referred to as crates. That is pretty good in terms of names versus pip. Like, what the heck is pip? But so cargo, so you're going to run commands like cargo build. So once you have your dependencies in Rust, the cargo build will then build all that out and ensure everything is going accordingly. And cargo test, and you want to get real fancy for, you want to have one of the most recent releases, you do cargo build-r. Just in the same way, some kind of hyphen. If you were to do Python with pip install dash hyphen, so dash r, like say requirements file for the dependencies in Python. So too, there are little flags for Rust. Anyways, important thing though, right? So just trying to have comparison of not completely, or taking at least some semblance of sameness from Python, since that's one that most folks are familiar with. But the thing here with Rustlings is that you, if you want to, you can go ahead. Oh, come here. That's there we go. Okay. Oh, Rustlings. Boop. All right. Sorry. So for the exercises, it goes through all the different possible things, and so what does it start with? It starts with what's it? Oh, yeah, intro. So what it'll do, and right, if you do Rustlings watch, it'll just immediately come up with this with the first exercise, because what it does is it has each little .rs file, and it'll have effectively there's something in it that's causing it to not compile. And so it's like a puzzle where you have to go through and figure out what is the thing that's causing it to not compile. And then once you do that, you can remove this. You'll see I am not done typically in there, so these are commented out. So unlike the hashes in Python, you'll end up having these forwards slashes here. Remove that, and then it won't. Once it's successfully compiled, it will no longer end up queuing that specific thing there. But really good for those who, like myself, like being able to have something practical, and you can also just kind of go through it again and again, and it's free, so it's a really good combination. So Rustlings Watch will end up just going through each of the, like there's a set specific sequence, and there's lots of great YouTubes out there, planning on putting some out as well, that show how really talk through and teach while they go through the exercises. It's not just get the thing to compile, but it's also understanding what the bigger picture is there. So different things like what's a string versus a I8 integer, that's like signed, versus U8, so unsigned, versus float, 16, 32, 64. And so all these different things that just all look like random letters and numbers, they all have specific meaning. And so the deeper we can understand that, the more we can be efficient in how we're assigning the code, and also in really having the least amount to have the most sustainability overall. So hopefully this is helpful, and I will see you in the next one.